Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. Today we're back with another stock market video. In this one today I'm going to be talking about how this week I was able to hit a 500% gainer in just a couple of days trading options, how I was able to identify this trade, how I was able to purchase it, and kind of my thought process behind why I went with this one, and kind of what I'm thinking going forward as we head further and further into tech earnings season. This next big week is going to be an absolutely massive one where we're going to see a ton of huge movers, a ton of big winners, a ton of big losers, and hopefully how we can capitalize this and how we can best think about this. Obviously, none of this is financial advice or anything. I'm not recommending that you guys do any of this. Option trading is very, very risky. I've lost so much money doing it, but I've made a bunch of money doing it as well. And these are some of the big winners I've hit. This is just kind of for educational and entertainment purposes, obviously. But with that being said, here we go. So as you can see, I was able to purchase this Snapchat $40 call. Snapchat's been the big meme stock this week. It's been just absolutely killing it. It had an amazing earnings. It had amazing projections for the future. And it had all the hype from like all the social media, all the retail investing, and obviously from the big players in the market as well. So many things aligned for Snapchat to just have an absolutely amazing week. If we just actually take a look at the Snapchat stock, I think it was something like in the mid 20s going into this week, and then it's obviously risen up all the way to $44.22 after hours on Friday. So again, this Snapchat call is one that I actually purchased after earnings. I didn't even get the entire run up. I had some Snapchat calls before earnings. I sold them out right before just because, I was worried about getting IV crushed and everything. But I actually was able to purchase this one on October 21st for $60. So I purchased it right around open on October 21st, right in this area, like 9 o'clock, about a half hour after open. And some of the reasons why I did this, I loved the Snapchat post earnings play for a couple reasons. One, earnings continuations are always something to look at when the company is at an all-time high, which Snapchat was. This is after a good earnings. They beat their expectations by a lot, which Snapchat did, because when people put out expectations, there's always a high end and a low end. But when a company beats even the high end expectations, then they are a candidate for a post earnings continuation, at least in my book. And Snapchat did that. They're also at an all-time high, which gives them even more momentum. And they're also just a company that I really believe in the long term. I think Snapchat has an awesome reach into the very, very young demographic. I think they're finding more and more ways to start monetizing their content. They're a company I definitely believe in the long term, and they're a company that I held shares for previously. So a lot of things added up to Snapchat being something that I was very, very interested in having some options for the post earnings play continuation, and I put my money where my mouth is. Obviously, I only bought $60 worth because this was a very far out of the money contract at the point. I believe Snapchat was at like $35 or something when I purchased this, and maybe even a little bit lower, maybe even like 34. But Snapchat is a very slow mover, so hitting it in 40 in just a couple of days was kind of a big risk. But I really did believe in this play. So again, as you can see, obviously as I bought it, it kind of went up and down. It peaked at about $1.33. I was up pretty much 100% in just a couple of hours, and then it kind of teetered off, and by the end of the day I was pretty much around even, maybe 10-20% up. But then obviously Snapchat continued to run. We saw it peak at around 360, and then it closed around 363. I have not sold this contract yet because again, this is a 10:30 expiration, which is going to be next Friday. I'm still holding on to it. I'm letting my winners run a little bit. If it goes down and I only make like 400% or 300%, or even if it crashes all the way down to where I'm just breaking even or losing money, that's fine. I want to go for the potential play of trying to hit an even bigger play with this option, just because I don't see a point in selling it now. I think Snapchat has a chance to continue to run up, and even if it doesn't, I'm okay with losing a little bit more. But I think this is an interesting strategy heading into the rest of earnings season. Any companies that have a surprising earnings beat and are near or at all-time highs and are having favorable projections going forward are companies that I'm going to be looking for further earning continuation. So that's really a play that I have used in the past really, really well. Again, in Q2 earnings, I did it for Apple, where Apple, they had a surprise beat. They were at all-time highs. They had favorable future projections, and we saw Apple, obviously it killed it around its earnings and it ran up, but then in the weeks after that, it just continued to run and continue to run and continue to run. And even though I kind of, even in those plays with Apple, I missed the big run up of the earnings. There's so much risk around earnings, where if you just wait until after earnings, you can minimize some of that risk by seeing how the earnings go, so you're not getting crushed by IV. And then afterwards, you are still able to see whether you think you're able to reevaluate if you think the company is going to continue to run and if it's undervalued after you're able to see their earnings, after you're able to see their game plan for the future, after you're able to see their future projections. And again, that's what I did for Snapchat. I sold off right before earnings, then I saw the good earnings, I saw the favorable future projections, and I saw what I believed was a little bit of an undervalue in Snapchat, and there'd be a lot of momentum behind it, even continuing through earnings. And I was able to capitalize on that with a 500% option play. And it's not done. It could go up, it could go down. But so far, it's looking like a pretty good one. Again, obviously, I wish I would have bought more contracts or something. But I did think there was significant risk involved in this, obviously, because Snapchat's a slow mover. I was very far out of the money. But once you get out of the money, if those contracts are able to hit, that's where you see the huge gains. That's where you see the huge 500% plays. And yeah, this was a good one. Again, if you guys are interested in options or anything, they can be very, very good. You can hit big ones like this, but you have to know what you're getting into. You have to know there's a huge amount of risk, and this play could have very easily gone to zero as well, and I could have just lost all the money that I put in. But again, I took a calculated risk. I had a lot of thought going into it, and this is a strategy that I've used in the past and one that I identified here again, and obviously in this case it worked out very, very successfully. And I'm going to be keeping a close eye on all the earnings this week, looking for more potential candidates for a play like this, because earnings season is a great time to make money. You can make money on earnings plays, you can make money on post earnings plays, good or bad continuations. Continuations work both ways, and there's just a lot of opportunities out there. It's a crazy time, it's a very volatile time, so be safe, be careful. But this was kind of my story about how I hit a 500% option play this week and made a little bit of money in the process. Definitely drop a like if you guys enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below. What kind of earnings plays are you guys looking at this week? Are there any big moves you're looking as far as shares, options, whatever? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions just on the stock market upcoming in this week. Subscribe so you have down on the latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.